Jermaine Taylor versus Joe Calzaghe going out to Austin Webb. This is one I've always wanted to see. So let's get into it. This one was very close to happening, and it should have happened. And I think this would have been a great fight at super middleweight. Jermaine Taylor has one of the best 1-2 combinations I've ever seen, has a great, quick, snapping jab, as well as a devastating straight right hand. And Jermaine Taylor could dig to the body when he had to. So Jermaine Taylor is what I consider an all-around fighter. But then you have to consider the awkwardness, the hand speed, the quickness, the in and out movement, the stepping around, the upper body movement. Joe Calzaghe was just too much. He was a freak of nature inside that ring. He was a monster. So Jermaine Taylor would have his hands full. The same as Joe Calzaghe's other opponents. They had their hands full. And I'm just going to say, Calzaghe was undefeated for a reason. We can all claim that he did all this ducking, so on and so forth. That's reaching. He was a great fighter. And that's that. So how would a fight play out between Joe Calzaghe and Jermaine Taylor? One of the advantages that Taylor has is Joe Calzaghe is cold in the first round. And I'm thinking back to when Joe got knocked down by Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones, both in the first round. Now, he shaked it off, and he came back to dominate both of those fights. I know the fight with Bernard was controversial, but I do believe that Calzaghe won that fight. He outworked Bernard. Bernard became overwhelmed in that fight, and he started faking low blows. So that's that. But Jermaine Taylor does have a puncher's chance with that power. So his best bet would try to be to hurt Calzaghe early with something, okay? But I'm struggling because we've never seen Calzaghe lose, nor have we ever seen him be dominated. So it's hard for me to imagine anyone beating him. Now, the reality is any fighter could lose on any given night. And Jermaine Taylor definitely had the talent. But Jermaine Taylor, like other talented fighters, sometimes lacked confidence and could become gun shy. Jermaine Taylor would also get tired in the rounds. Excuse me. It's a pretty day. People are out riding their mopeds or whatever they're calling them these days. But Jermaine Taylor would get tired in the later rounds. He would lose steam and he would gas out. And if it wasn't for that, just my opinion, if it wasn't for that, I believe that Jermaine Taylor would have been undefeated or would have retired undefeated. But sometimes the gas just ran out of the gas tank, and it happens. It's life. It's boxing. And it's happened to the best fighters, okay? So with that being said, Jermaine Taylor's best bet is just to use his jab, is just to be busy. He's going to have to take some risk, and he's going to have to take some chances. I don't see Calzaghe beating Jermaine Taylor in the same fashion that he beat Jeff Lacy in. Because Jermaine Taylor is a little more fluid. He's a little more fluid. He moves around better, has a better jab, better footwork. So I think the jab would be a factor in this fight, but Jermaine Taylor would have to establish it and keep it going. And that's all there is to it. And then fire off the 1-2 combinations, go to the body. So Jermaine Taylor would definitely have to be on top of his game. But as far as confidence, Joe Calzaghe always had confidence. He knew how to get in there. He knew how to showboat. He knew how to let those hands go from all sorts of crazy angles. He knew how to get in your head. He knew how to lean forward and dip back, upper body movement. Like I said, Calzaghe was just too much. He was too much. So, how will this fight play out? Help me out. How will this fight play out? I know which way that I want to lean. But I know which way I need to lean. And the reality is, I think Joe Calzaghe would outwork Jermaine Taylor and win a decision. Now, Jermaine Taylor has a chance in the earlier rounds, and he would be wise to take advantage of it. But the longer the fight goes on, it favors Calzaghe. So I'm going to go with Joe Calzaghe by decision, majority decision. Please let me know what you think. Talk about Roy Jones Jr.'s kryptonite. What was Roy Jones Jr.'s kryptonite? And to tell you the truth, we really didn't see any kryptonite or any weaknesses until after the Tarver fight. So I would say that Roy Jones' kryptonite was simply age, was simply father time catching up with him. Because let's be honest, Roy Jones looked invincible at his peak and in his prime, and even past his prime. So really, it was just the age that caught up with him. He lost his reflexes. And so this video is going to be short and sweet because those are the only weaknesses that I can think of. At the end of the day, Roy Jones Jr. was a phenomenal fighter, and he was just too much of everything. Now, some may point out that his lack of technique, I thought his technique was fine. He just had a unique style, and he had his own style. He made it work. That's it. You don't have to do everything orthodox. Great unorthodox fighter had an unorthodox style, and that's okay. It worked, and it made him what he was. And so in closing, Roy Jones' kryptonite was father time.